So here we are, people. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. It's good to have you. Um, this may be one of the final final chapters. I'll say final chapters into what I was starting that small series small series about. Uh, there are reasons behind it. I won't go into it. There are a lot of details that I have to kind of leave out. People's names that can't be mentioned, not without some very extensive provisions, and it doesn't really fare well for me, as detailed as I'd want to be, and for the reasons that I would want to is simply just to be detailed. Because when I'm saying something, I want to be articulate, of course, but I want it to make sense. And not being able to include certain things won't make it, give the effect that I want. You know, so it may fare well in another avenue, but not this one. Not with just simply speaking online about what it is that I'm talking about. There's a first part, second part. This would be the third part, and if I don't wrap it up, there'll probably only be one more that I found to be important. So anyway, from what I've said prior to now, my situation back then brought me to Jacksonville, Florida, with a newborn and extenuating circumstances to where I wasn't working, just out of the military with no real plan as to what was going to be the next stage of how I was going to support the family that I just started in this place that I've never lived. So, needless to say, every opportunity I found, I tried to take advantage of, and some of these things were favors from, the lady that I was with and married to now, and her family, which didn't make me feel comfortable because it really felt more like a handout. And as much as I wanted to, show that I was grateful by doing a good job, it still felt like a favor. So I did that as much as I could, and I worked as hard as I could to try to sustain, a lifestyle. So at one point, I was selling home security for a relative, for an in-law, and a relative at the time on her side of the family. That was working out. It got us into a place. It was working okay for a while. But of course, what you find in the early part of some marriages is that you don't really know who it is that you're with, and you may not even like who you're with. I was finding out I didn't really like who I was with, but at the time I have to make things as comfortable as possible at the time. So we're just trying to get along, trying to deal with one another, making the most out of it. Having money made it better because now at least you're not fighting tooth and nail to pay your share of the bills because you're living in somebody else's house. Okay, we moved down there into somebody else's house, which was her relative, another in-law, and I don't know them. They don't know me. They're not even really sure how they feel about me. So I feel like the outsider, and they feel like it's a big family reunion. Plus, not to mention the fact, my kid, So my son, me, and her, and all of them. So eventually we got to the point where we could move out. So now we're moving out, living on our own, and trying to create a lifestyle. How is comfortable. Typical. Eating out, having a good time, enjoying the raising our son, and lo and behold, when things get comfortable, you get comfortable. You get comfortable, you start being a little more careless. What does that mean? Kid number two. Okay, now we're having two kids. This is another son. Here he is. He comes into the picture. More pressure on the already tight situation because we're not comfortable enough to have another son. But what are we gonna do? We gotta do what we gotta do in raising now two children. So things are even more tight now. Any kind of job and any two or three jobs I can manage, I take. So two or three jobs, security, brick mason, construction, anything that gets me a dollar, I'm down to do to try to maintain this family. The pressure is so great to at one point we allow the family, the in-laws, to have custody of the children while we get ourselves together. take some of the pressure off. You're in a situation where there's no one. We're in a kind of tight situation. And to alleviate some of the pressure, if you could take custody temporarily while we get ourselves on our feet, that would be great. So they agreed to do that initially. But as time went on, us showing instability, that being a more stable situation, not to mention that the state is willing to help anybody who's trying to help somebody else by giving them funding, state funding, they take it upon themselves to say, well, how about we just keep the children and you feel free to visit? No, that sounds like you're trying to take my children. And be what it is, we were sided against. We were sided against. It was determined that the children would be better in the custody of in-laws, more stable in-laws, more stable people, households that are a little more comfortable, a little more suitable for children, and not as stressed as our situation seemed to be, because we're fighting tooth and nail to try to come up with a dollar to make ends meet. And here's a situation where they can grow up without any of the fight and the struggle. When it comes to a family, the entire family struggles, so the entire family wins. And they did not feel that the children should be exposed to the struggle or the hardship. They should just simply be without seemingly a care in the world. That's not the way the world works. That's not the way things are. Needless to say, we were fighting an uphill battle because the people that had custody temporarily wanted to keep our children, wanted to have the children there, and of course wanted to gain the financial surplus that was being gained by having them there. So this became a custody battle. This is a custody battle now. So it started out, okay, well, what is it that you need from us to prove that we're worthy of having our children, getting them back as if we gave them up? Well, here's a case plan. It should only take a couple of months. Just do this, that, and the other thing, and bring that back to court, and we'll be all square. L7. Okay, so in the midst of trying to complete this case plan, to appease these powers that be, the lady at the time realizes that this is too stressful for her. So she bails out. She moves away. She leaves. The people that are her relatives, my in-laws, don't know where to find her, don't know where she went, and aren't looking for her. And with everything on my plate, I don't have time to look for a grown person or locate where she is when my children are not in my custody, and that's the only thing I give a shit about anyway. She's gone, one less thing, now I can focus on me. But what that does is it presents a different dynamic to the courts. It presents another snag in what should have been a smooth process. Now I'm at the bottom of the pile of other cases that no longer include a stable household of two parents. Now it's a single parent in a household we have no idea exists. He has to create another living environment, another set of suitable means to bring these children into, which begins a hellacious process. Hellacious. Do you know that word, hellacious? So it feels like I'm up against the world. And all I really want is my children to be with me and me to be in sole custody without these venomous people trying to profit off of them. In the end, well, I'm not going to say in the end, but before I was on my own to do this, my 3 children and their mother are all living separately somewhere else. I don't know where this lady's going, my then wife. I'm not concerned about that. But where my children are, I do know. So I'm trying to keep the relationship with her in-laws cool. I do let them know that I have every intent of getting my children back from them. But in the meantime, we're just gonna play nice. We're gonna shake hands. I'm gonna come over every weekend. I'm gonna say, hey, how you doing? If I bring food to have a sit down, eat with my kids, I'm gonna bring enough to feed the whole household just to let you know I have no hardships and no hard feelings towards any of you. But make no mistake, I know if you willing to take my kids, you mean me no good. You only mean me hurt and hardship because whoever tried to take children from a parent so they could gain another couple of dollars per month, try to profit off them, I would say you pimping them. You could just say you pimping them. But as long as my children are there, you get an extra, I don't know, a couple of $1,000. You know, because this guy can't take care of his kids. Him and his wife, they can't take care of the kids. He can't even keep this wife of his in order. So how is he gonna keep these kids and make sure that they're okay? That's the way I'm being looked at. Do you know how much that hurt me in pride and respect? But you got to think strategically. You got to realize these people are playing for real. So you got to play too. So I come over, hey, how y'all doing? Good to see you. Chit chat, bullshit, small talk. Hey, and then here come my sons come running, and that's all that matters. Hey, daddy, that's all I give a shit about. Here, all three of them come, living in this 2-bedroom household, which is what the state considered to be the most suitable place for them. Wearing these little tight ass clothes that no one would fucking wear. Give away clothes from some charity that donates clothes to needy kids because they think my kids are needy. They think my kids are in need. They think my kids have been left in wanting. Who the fuck wears a fucking Christmas sweater in fucking May? Tight ass little clothes, little fucking. My kids probably was the first boys wearing fucking sweaters cut up at the fucking elbow, and don't they look cute? They look fucking ridiculous. If I was their age and didn't know them, I'd be the one picking at them. Look at them. But you think you're giving them the best suitable living arrangement for them to be functional kids in society. I got to get my kids out here as soon as fucking possible. What's left out of the equation is that there's child support rendered against myself and their mother. I'm paying mine. Oh, absolutely. I know what the fuck the case plan says. It says you have to be in good standings as far as child support in order to gain visitation. And if you have to have visitation, then you got to pay the rules. So I'm paying mine. I'm caught up on it. I'm in arrears, but I'm current. I'm in arrears, but I'm current. This is the phone call I have to take.